It's early April, and it's finally starting to look like spring has sprung. And looking back at old photos, we can really see how far this plot's come in the short time we've had it, and how our hard work finally looks to be paying off. April's going to be a busy month, and we've got lots of jobs to be cracking on with. First on the list is to create a couple of shelves to go at the back of the greenhouse to take some of the leggy seedlings off the floor, to give them a bit more sunlight and create a bit more room for the many seeds we intend to sow this month. After cutting down some lengths of wood left over from when I made the raised beds at the end of March, I attached some metal brackets to the back of the greenhouse at the right level where I wanted the shelves to sit. Then it was time to put the seedlings in their new home. I really hope they appreciate the effort I put in for them. I sowed our first 2 rows of seed potatoes at the end of March. I started by raking the area they were going to be planted in, before taking out as much of the grass and weeds that were there as I could. I then took a guide I made before drilling some holes where the potato seeds would go. Using a hoe, I brought some of the dirt back over the top of them, creating small mounds to give them more room to grow and also make it very obvious where they are. I added some labels before giving them a really good douse of water, although this probably wasn't necessary as it pretty much rained for the next 2 weeks. Two weeks later, and it was time to sow 2 more rows, and this will be all the first early potatoes that we sow this year. I started off the same as last time by clearing the area of grass and weeds as much as I could, and I think by the looks of it, I did a much better job this time. Potatoes weren't the only thing that was sown at the end of March. We also put in a row of onion sets. We used a length of wood to make an indent, a dibber to make some small holes, and then put the onion sets in, alternating between red and white. Two weeks later, and it was time to get the second row of onions in. We started by clearing some of the weeds that we found had appeared over the past 2 weeks, and also getting rid of any bits of broken glass, which we seem to find quite a lot around this part of the plot. We think that the old owner must have had a greenhouse there that had broken. After carefully doing that, we got to planting the second row. Saying about them. He said something about putting them in egg trays. Now it's time to catch up on sowing some seeds. All that sowing seeds and watering had us thinking we need somewhere to chill out and relax, so that was the next job. I dug off the top layer of grass and went down about 2 inches, leaving enough room for sharp sand and the slabs, so that when the slabs are laid, they would be at the same level as the grass that's there in the middle. Down went the first row of slabs, and I'm using a spirit level to make sure everything's straight and flush. I'm using the slabs that I had left over from when I laid the base of the shed that's on the plot. The slabs at the front left and right already had the notches broke out of them, so they fit pretty perfectly. I used some of the grass that we took off the top layer to go in between the slabs, which I'm hoping will grow and look quite effective. I used the rest of the sharp sand I had to level everything out, and that's it finished. Oh, barring one thing. Then it was time to tidy up the grass. Then it was time to sow some carrots. We raked and prepared the bed. Made a trench and sowed some seeds. We're laying some wood on top to lock in the moisture and help with germination. No, I don't know if he has, you know, because it's a different one, isn't it? Different channel. So. On the 17th of April, it was time to sow more seeds, but on this day, the weather really couldn't make its mind up.
I'm going to show the camera my seeds.
Let's have a look. Wait a second. I'm living in the past. Here we're sowing what we hope will be some really large pots of basil that we can give as gifts to family later in the year. There we go.
Thanks, darling. Oh my god.
Get that shot. Let's do some tomatoes.
Yeah? And what do you want them in?
Hopefully we can have plenty of our own next year if we... Spring onion outside in one of those beds. more room.
How back there? So you need to walk in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go back there. Once we'd finished sowing everything to go in the greenhouse, we went outside to the raised beds to start sowing some spring onions and Swiss chard. Make one now. The final job for April was to tidy up the back area of the plot, where I intend to grow flowers to use in bouquets to give as gifts to family and friends, and also brighten up our home. I started by anchoring some string in the centre of the grass area that you can see, taking it out to 5 feet and marking the first line, and then taking it out to 9 feet and marking the second line, before rotating the soil, topping with cardboard, and then putting landscaping bark on top of it. I'm doing the same thing around the whole of this back area, so it'll be like a circle within a circle, and I'm hoping it'll be a really tranquil and nice place to come and sit on our days off. I had already planted some perennial plants in these sections, however the grass and weeds had started to grow quicker than them, and I was struggling to keep track of where everything was, so when the bark had been put down, I replanted them. Now it's time for the last half of this back section, and I can really see it coming together now.